our colleague here, Lisa Bruton.
Sun Ra, and we also have Marshall Allen and John Gilmore here with
And really, it's ridiculous. So therefore, I don't deal with the future or prophecies. We need something better than a book that predicts doom for humanity. We need something better than that. Although it is the truth and it's a nice book, still, it's not suitable for this planet. I'd put it like that. Although it is the truth, we need something better than the truth. If the truth is going to cause us to be destructive to each other and self-destruct, and the fruits of the truth is not very good from what I see. I have to judge a tree by the fruit, so whatever this planet is dealing with is proven to be drastically destructive, and that's not my department. So therefore, I don't deal with those particular things. I have to deal with something else. Something else that's totally impossible, something else that's pure. And the best medium for that is music, because that music can be pure. It's a pure language, because if a musician makes one wrong note, even though a person may not ever have heard the song, they will know it's a wrong note. So you can't fool them with the wrong rhythms and the wrong notes and the wrong harmonies and the wrong melodies. Therefore, music is a medium which can speak to this planet. Besides that, the planet is totally out of order, and it is said that music soothes the savage beast. Now, armies can't do it, and other mediums can't do it, you know. You judge it to see where the planet is now. It's almost at the point of anarchy. So then, music should be given a chance. I mean, pure music. Some music commercial, and then, it's not proper, you know. We need more symphony orchestras to be heard on the air. We need more symphonic composers to be heard. We need some creative jazz musicians to be heard, not because they're famous, but because they have something to say. Now, I have something to say, but I haven't really been given a chance, but maybe I didn't even try to get a chance because the planet is so out of order. I wanted to play the low profile, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to drop the whole thing on them. So, like the rain fall on them and the snow falls on them, everything falls on people. So then I'm going to drop my music on them. It's going to hit the heavens and drop down on every nation on the face of earth, because that's what they need. And they'll hear it, you know, if I play. I'm opening the gates up that if I play anywhere in the world, the rest of the nations will feel something in the air, and they'll have some feeling because they've lost their feelings, you know. So if you got some music got feeling, then people can be vibrated into having some feeling instead of being dead like they are, and probably be tempted to use the 95% of their brain that they're not using. That's what this music is about, to get them to step beyond the 5%. And first thing they need to know is how ignorant they are with all their education, with all their everything they got. You know, judge a tree by the fruit. This is a violent, vicious, ridiculous planet. It makes everyone self-destruct. Well, I don't approve of that, you know. It doesn't have to be. And I'm saying it in my music, you know. I'm saying it in my compositions. I'm also doing some things like from some greats or masters like Fletcher Henderson and some more people that were very important to America. And one of my messages to America is that, you know, you should have a holiday for a musician. You got a holiday for religionists and generals and all that. You don't have a holiday for musicians. Now, that's not proper, because musicians have contributed quite a lot to this country and can contribute quite a lot more. You should have a holiday for one musician, even if you're not an American musician. I mean, you've had some musicians great enough to be to have a holiday. I really request America have a holiday, or the world have a holiday for one musician, please.
Do you think that this entire planet, the Earth, is equally receptive to your music? Like, I know you've traveled extensively in Europe. You've been to Egypt. Do you find that they are more receptive or less receptive than America?
Well, they have a better chance in America because, you see, Europe has a lot of culture houses, and the government sponsors. Most of the concerts we played are sponsored by the governments. I play, any commercial things. When I go there, the governments of those particular countries bring me there because they feel that I'm a worth to their people, and they see to me coming there. The Belgian government and the French, all of them, Now the Portuguese government, we went there about 2 years ago, I think, and then we're going back. The Spanish government, all these nations recognize me, that I'm doing something of worth culture-wise for their people. Of course, America has mostly dealt with the money. They still deal with the money, too, talking about balancing the budget. But they should balance the cultural aspects of things to see the people in America have a chance like the Europeans got. The Europeans, they don't have to go nowhere. The world comes to them because the world comes to them in their culture house. Most Americans are completely ignorant to what other nations are doing culture-wise, and that should be rectified. I'm speaking from a cultural plane. Americans should have more on their mind than just money because money is going out of style, and it's going out of style. It's going to be the kind of governments that won't deal with money. It's not going to be the money thing soon.
So
They're moving toward now with cards and things. So it is, that's the way it is. It's a new thing coming in. And, of course, music will have to be given a chance in this country.
So let me ask you then, why are you living in this country? I mean, if you feel that other countries are much more
Actually, as far as I'm concerned, America is the world of the dead, and so is the rest of the country. So it make no difference if you're in the kingdom of the dead, which is this planet. It's been dead a long time up under the god of death. And they just up under that, They're all prisoners, They got life sentence, and they stay here till they die. It's a prison house. I probably can give them a pardon, Although they're not worth 2 cents and a half. I don't want them. But the point of, I hate to see them in the condition they're in. I don't like it. It's not proper for people to be talking about they trust in God and got all these jails in America. You're not supposed to have that because you judge a tree by the fruit. And if you got all these people in jail, that's something wrong. And I don't think America is the kind of place that should have those kind of institutions and speak of God. It's totally wrong, Total disgrace, Suppose God visits this planet, catch all these people in jail. I'm sure that people ought to be intelligent enough to find some better solutions to their problems than talking about other countries. The pot can't talk about the kettle. And I don't think no nation should talk about the other because they all got their hands bloody, And it comes a time that we, the musicians who are creators, should be given a chance to create for the people of America the same way we were given a chance in other countries. In fact, I went to Egypt and stayed 2 months and a half, and I tried them out, and they didn't say anything. I tried them out, and we stayed there 2 months and a half, and we played in Egypt, which totally amazed the English and the French. They came every night to say they couldn't believe I was in Egypt, but I was there. I was playing what I wanted to play, So that's the way it is. I think people should give themselves a chance, not me. They should give themselves a chance through giving me a chance to give them a chance. They should. And, I played the low profile, so they don't know too much about me. But that was my deliberate plan. But I was sent to this planet to help you out of these difficulties. And by the one who really is in charge of it, And I have to speak of it with great reluctance because I'm not a preacher and I'm not a philosopher. I'm just, you might say, an agent sent here by someone who really does not like what is happening to people. Totally sympathetic, but not going to raise a hand to help them because it's up to them. If they want something better, I'm here to help them. If they're satisfied with conditions the way they are, well, that's not my department. I'm not interested in what they desire, what they want, because I see that condition is deplorable. It's been like that for thousands of years, and nothing is happening. They said nothing new under the sun. But then I am the sun, so therefore, I can do a lot of new things.
Let me ask you two, Marshall Allen and John Gilmore. You guys have been with Sun Ra here, the Sun, for what, close to 30 years now? And,
Pretty close.
Tell me a little bit about this man.
Of course, I'm not a man. I'm an angel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The man can't do nothing. You got to.
But you're in the form
You
of
have
a
to
man.
be an angel. I'm just a spirit, you know.
But I can reach out and touch you.
Well, naturally, it's the first time that you could do that.
You've taken the form of a man to come speak with
I
us?
take the form of a being, you know. Actually, no such thing as a man.
Okay.
In a Christian country, there's no such thing as a male or female. It says so in the Bible. They're all in the name of Christ, and that does away with sex.
Uh-huh.
That's according to the book. They said the truth. It said neither male nor female. No men and no women in a Christian country. So they should read that book. So I'm not a man, because that's been abolished. I'm not Christ either, but nevertheless, I'm going according to the book that they say is God's word. It nullified the idea of being two sexes.
And I know that, or I've heard that you beings live together in a house, right? And kind of as...
Well, they don't say they're not a man, you know. I'm saying that. I'm saying I'm not.
Yeah.
They have to speak for themselves.
Well, you people, can I call you people for tonight's conversation?
As long as you don't call us earth people.
Okay.
We don't want that on
okay.
us.
All right. I won't call you earth people. You people live together in a house, and as I understand it, it's a pretty strict. I mean, in relation to households all over this planet, it's a fairly strict environment. You're not allowed.
It's a house that's speaking of discipline rather than freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got is the fruits of freedom, and this is discipline.
Uh-huh. Freedom is attained through discipline?
I don't need any freedom, you know. I'm not free, you know. I have to do according to the boss of this planet, and that's not freedom, you know.
And yet they call, or sometimes term, what you play free jazz?
Well, they say that, but you know, they don't realize, well, I'm doing PHRE jazz, that's free too. That means sun, you know, in one of the languages. Actually, different languages, free is spelled PHRE, and that's free. I'm doing that kind of jazz, that's the sun, not the FREE. I don't deal with that, you know. I know nothing about it. I see the fruits of freedom have been kind of drastic, you know.
For you?
For everybody.
For everybody. Yeah. So you're a man of, or a person, a being of discipline. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble finding the right words.
Attempting discipline, you know, to try to get people to see that discipline is better for them so they can have self-control and they can teach their children to not be free to be against their parents and not be free to do the things they're doing. Because what they're doing, they're only expressing their freedom. And that means doing anything you want to do. And that's what they're doing. But it's not proper because they'll have to pay for that. They have to pay for it. And they don't know that, you know. Teenagers don't know they have to pay for everything they're doing. So, well, someone should tell them.
And you are?
I can tell them they will have to pay for everything they do. With that, Mom and Papa has nothing to do with it. There's some other folks watching them, and they will have to pay for everything everything, every thought, every deed, every time they play hooky from school, whatever they're doing, they will have to pay for it. It's like a supermarket. You know, you can get anything free you want till you come past the cashier.
You mentioned that when you toured Europe, a lot of your audience was composed of these teenagers. Do you find that they're listening to you because they understand that they have to pay for this freedom that they have?
If you talk to a punk rocker or any of the musicians come over here from Europe, they'll tell you their inspiration is me. And I play a lot of punk rock places. In fact, every time a record hits the street, the punk rockers and other musicians buy it. So actually, I'm the innovator of the other types of music too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the fact that you use a lot of electronic instruments and synthesizers, and the fact that you use them regularly before a lot of rock bands do.
Yeah, well, I've been toning down on that in the last few years because I was really studying Fletcher Henderson's music and extending what he was doing, and now I've accomplished that to get the sax section to sound like violins and other things that's happened to Fletcher Henderson. So I have that now, and I'll be able now to get back on my electronics and do things, and you throw both things at them. Past, the good part of the past, the nice part of the present, and the better part of the future that bypasses the future that you're supposed to have. My idea is to nullify the future that is facing humanity and give them something else. You know, you can't take something away from people and don't give them something else. So if I talk about systems that people have, I don't have a right to do that unless I have something better. And I do have something better, you know. Mm-hmm. Although I don't want the planet, I don't want the people either. They're most drastic, you know. But I have no choice. I have to speak to the world, tell them to cool it. Somebody's watching them.
Sun Ra, lots of times when you perform, well, I won't say lots of times. I haven't seen every performance you've done. I've seen a few, but you're very theatrical. You know, you're very. You perform. There's usually some dancing and some elaborate costuming. Do you think that some people might be distracted by this, away from the music? And
of course they are. I do it deliberately. Only the pure in heart can really see and hear what I'm doing. That's what I want. Uh-huh. The pure in heart in all nations, you know. They could do it. They can change this planet. Nothing can stop them. But then a lot of people pretend like they're pure in heart and have ulterior motives. So I had to, through the years, I've been busy putting up subterfuge and things to get rid of them. And I can say I was quite successful to get rid of a lot of people who was pretending to me. In fact, I pretended them. But I am sincere, and I can do things for humanity. I can do that. But not that I want to. But I can say, well, okay, you tried everything else now. Listen to me and what I'm saying to you, because your life depends upon it.
Let me ask you this. Why, I know originally you're from Alabama. That's the furthest back that I've read anything written about where your origins are.
Yeah, I'm from the head of the Confederate States.
And then Chicago, New York,
Chicago.
Philly, you worked. Why?
In Atlanta, Lincoln, where they said freedom. And now I'm in the land of Philadelphia, where freedom started. And to correct some things in Philadelphia, spiritual-wise. Mm-hmm. That's all it needs, you know. A little something here and a little something there, you know. It's like a tailor, you know. You have to tighten up things. See how the people are here? Now I got a picture of them. I got a picture of what they're supposed to be rather than what they are. So then I have to tighten up on them and take this out and put it. And then Philadelphia will be shocked at what it can really do.
Mm-hmm. We've been seeing a lot of you recently.
Well, yeah, I decided since I play all over the world, I should play in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I came here to change the city, And I'm at work again.
You guys did a movie, right? Am I right? I don't know that much about it. It was called Space is the Place.
Right.
And
It was telling people what they have to do about this planet. But I stopped the movie because they had some earth things in there, and I'm getting ready to fix it up the way it's supposed to be on the spiritual plane. Star Wars proved that you don't have to have sex and then these other things and close encounters. And this is supposed to be kind of music about humanity saving itself. They can do it. All this planet, they can turn it and save themselves. They don't need to save it. What they need is to stop being self-destruct and stop having all this pride where everybody wants to be the boss. That's what trouble is. Everybody wants to be the boss. But you don't have but one boss. That's the one this planet belongs to, who sits back and act like he doesn't exist.
you think people have a basic listening problem?
A listening problem?
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the fact that your music, you reach only the pure at heart with your music. And I would think that, at least from a musical standpoint, those people who are pure at heart and understand the best music are those people that listen the best.
Well, I haven't really given them a chance. I was down there, like the Voice of America, Willis Conover had me on TV in New York, and he asked me, he said, they tell me you're the boss of the underground. And I said, no, I'm further down there. I'm the boss of the sub-underground. I'm down under there, you know. And that is true. I have a lot of things in music that would be utterly astounding to musicians on the planet. I held all that back, you know, because I wasn't seeking no fame and all that. I'm a scholar. And, you know, scholars don't like fame and all that. And they don't like that. They like really, like my horoscope said last week, that I was going to be, one day I was going to be deliciously alone. That's what I needed. And then when I'm alone, I can commune with the one who rules this planet. And I just sit there. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to pray or do nothing like that. But if I wanted something for this planet, I can get it. The only thing about it, you have to fight against their desires, which are all ridiculous, and you have to get them to do something to help themselves, because they're out of order, you know. They need to be tuned up. So now I have to do what I was doing in Chicago and Philadelphia. I got to tune these people up. So then I have to play for them. The same thing I do in New York. Now, New York knows me. I throw the full force of what I'm doing in New York. I got a lot of people, follows there, you might say, every time I play there. But Philadelphia, I just been staying here, and then I go out and I come back. So finally decided, well, I better give Philadelphia the New York treatment. That's what I'm getting ready to do. It doesn't make any difference whether it's too far. I don't care. I'm expressing my feelings about a better type of world, and maybe they might catch on. Maybe I think they will at this point.
Yeah, those that are true at heart, for sure.
Because music soothes the savage beasts, and the people are worse than savage beasts. In fact, I don't want to insult the beasts and call people beasts, because they worse than the beasts could ever be. However, music soothes the savage beasts, and I'm just gonna cool them down, you know. Well, you start to ask John something, he can tell you about it.
Yeah, but I originally way back when I was going to ask you, you know, just to describe a little bit about what has. I mean, you two are part of the nucleus that has stayed with Sun Ra since, about 30 years, something like that.
Isn't that right? Radius somewhere.
Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what motivations you have, why you're staying with this?
Well, for one reason, because it's always interesting and moving. It would have to be to stay with it for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's always something going on. Never a dull moment. For 30 years, it's always, every day there's something happening, and always fresh music. So what other situation could you ask for any better if you were a musician?
Right.
And really love music for music's sake, not for money and fame and all that. You would look for the ideal situation where you would satisfy your musical, hunger for what you know, and that's always satisfied.
That's great.
And plus, there's always something interesting and exciting going on all the time with someone. Plus, it's like being with the preview of the newspaper or something like that, because he's going to tell you what's going to happen before it comes out on the radio and the newspaper. So where should you?
Yeah.
Who else can do that?
What else do
You know? It's spiritually benefiting all the way around. Maybe not so much financially, but that's most important. The spirit of finance.
Yeah.
I think spirit is, you know. And that's very rewarding.
How about you, Mr. Marshall?
Well, you need some discipline.
Discipline.
I really did. And it was a good place to start. And plus some music.
You
Where
guys-
you can create, and it's always interesting, and you can grow.
Always a challenge.
Yeah.
You never think you can play everything to sunrise, right? You forget that. That will never happen, because he can write some stuff that make you wish you had some more keys on the horn. That's right, so it'll never get dull.
Do you ever feel frustrated by the limitations of the instrument? I mean, or do you find that there are any? Maybe there aren't any for you. I mean, you just mentioned wishing there were a few more.
Well, you know, I mean, it depends upon your range and control of the instrument, you know, as to whether you can play whatever he writes, you know. But like I say, it's always a challenge. You bet that much you'd be huffing and puffing after one of those rehearsals and running over some of those lines, you know. You won't ever get bored.
Maybe tired sometimes.
Tired, definitely tired. That's right, but not bored.
I guess you guys have seen a lot of musicians come and go through the years with this band. Is there, or guess I should say, are there some characteristics of those who stay on that you know, who continue in this challenge?
It's really hard to say, you know. It's just like someone says, after a minute, you know, if the dudes are too heavy, they clear out. They just seem to clear out.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about a concert that you did in New York this summer with, I think it was, I don't know that much about it. Maybe you can tell me more. It was, as I understand it, was with a large group of musicians who weren't regular members of your band.
No, it was that, you know, the 100-piece thing. We was getting ready to go to Europe, I think, and we did this before going, and it didn't have but a week advertising, but the place was packed. It was beautiful. We played 2 nights, and 100-piece band. You know, I had dancers. That's included in that. You know, the dancers, but it was 100 pieces. You know, and the David Murray, the leader of the world saxophone, he was there, and Billy Bang was there. Was Rashid Ali was there, the drummer, and Gary Botts was there. Caliparous was there. We had, and that's what New York was astounded that I had the band leaders beside me, and they said it couldn't be done because it wasn't about the money. They respect what I'm doing. They really do, but they've been kind of standing off because I be talking about the creed and things like that. Not being righteous, that's kind of scares people, you know. But I'm not righteous either, really. But I do some nice things. Mm-hmm. I'm really wicked and evil, but I be doing more nice things than the righteous people. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that's what it's about. Who can do the most good things? The righteous ones or the wicked, evil ones, you know.
That's an interesting turnabout.
It is quite interesting. You know, big battle going on. It's quite true. But I do nice things, you know. A lot of righteous people don't do good things, you know. So it's all right to be there on the other side and do good things and defeat them.
So when you pull a band together, a large band, and you do some kind of improvisation, there has to be something that ties it all together. And I guess I really
Well,
wondered what.
in Germany, they asked me, well, since you've been leading and you're an innovator and you've been doing things electronics now, what's next? And I said, the people are the instrument. The Germans made that the theme of the next festival they had. They had the people are the instrument. Now, a lot of musicians ask me, what do you mean by that? That's because they're so far behind, they don't know what I mean. But of course, I mean, people are the instruments. They got two harps up there on their head. They call them ears, you know. And these two harps, you know, have strings in them, and that's the way they hear. Some of the strings in their ears have never been touched because it takes sound to move it. Now, they got thousands of strings up in there. Now, I can play on their ears, you know. I play these sounds they never heard before and make these strings become alive. By making enough of them become alive, they might become alive instead of dead the way they are.
I have a quote here that I don't know if it ties in. It seems like it might, but it's a quote that I've noticed for a while, and I've kind of understood in my own way. I was wondering if my understanding of it is what you meant by it. Let me read it, and then maybe you can tell me what you meant. It's sometimes in the amazing ignorance I hear things and see things I never knew I saw and heard before.
Well, you know, I think it was Alexander Pope that said ignorance is bliss. So use that as a foundation to say, why would he say something like that? You know, instead of wisdom. Well, then, that's what really messed Adam and Eve up, where they're trying to bother with this knowledge and things. So then, it's better to be ignorant than it is to be wise, because it is written not many wise are chosen. So therefore, I just consider myself as ignorant because every day I learn something. And if I knew everything, then I couldn't say that. But I learn something every day. That means that I must be ignorant if I got to learn something every day.
It's true. And
So then it's amazing that one could be ignorant with all this education around. But of course, if everyone on this planet admitted that they're ignorant, then the ruler of the planet would consider that they need his help. But if they're so smart and so wise, they don't need him. Let them do it themselves. But of course, if they acknowledge their ignorance, then they would say, well, I better look to some source other than myself, because I'm on this planet in a great big universe, which is part of an omniverse, and I'm very small, and just with my little brain, I can't hope to really do the better things that's for me, because I don't know what good is no way. You know, you talk about it, but actually this planet is rotten, and the folks here are rotten too, because they have not had a proper chance to develop themselves for their walls and everything they have. They haven't had a chance to develop themselves to the higher capacity, neither spiritually, nor physically, nor mentally. So the walls and things have stopped them, and they're still stopping them too, so they don't have time to develop themselves. But you could have a wonderful planet. You got the space age here, and people can go out. Every nation on this planet could have a planet of their own if they go out there and find them some more space. And they could do that instead of killing one another. So that's my idea, to get them involved in going out of space and doing something better than what they're doing, you know. It's just more, I hear it's almost 5 billion people on this planet. That's a lot of people. Now some of them need to go out and pioneer. We could have a lot of commercial things that go up to the other planets, and the economy could be stimulated by simply going to other planets and bringing something back and selling to people. Everybody would be interested, to open up the space frontiers. That would really make everybody in a race. Instead of fighting against one another, they'd have a race to try to get out there and get something. And if they get out there, if every nation had a planet of their own, I would say that is true equality. You know, speaking of things that just some pipe dreams is all right, but I don't deal in those kind of things. I do think if people who talk about equality, if the white race got billions of dollars in the bank, I do think if some black folks talk about equality, they should talk about some billions and trillions of dollars instead of this other foolishness they're talking about. I believe that a true equality would be when everybody got a right amount of money so they won't have to suffer. I love that kind of equality. In fact, I wouldn't mind having about $100 billion in the bank myself.
And yet, would that be equality? Okay. I know that your music is unearthly, and yet, do you? I've heard songs such as "Nuclear War" that you do. Do you? I mean, are you apolitical, or is your music in some ways a political statement?
Well, I just did that to show them I could do things like that. But actually, I'm gonna do a Forbidden Factor. You know, I'm getting ready to play my nerve music for people. You know, and they got their nerve gas, so I got my nerve music. Now, when I play my nerve music, then I can bypass the brain and reach them. The nerve touch all part of their bodies, and I can remake them really with sound. They have some sound bodies, you know. Then they have a sound mind. They have sound philosophy. It's all about sound. So in my sound, which would be pure, I can purify them simply by my nerve music. That's my next thing I'm going to play, nerve music. Irresistible, you know. Although I don't want them really. It doesn't matter. I had to find a way to reach people. I can reach them through their nerves. It's irresistible, you know. Strike them. They'll feel it. They'll feel what I'm doing. I'm not worried about them understanding what I'm doing. I want them to feel what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And the best way for them to feel things is through the nerves. And I'm going to do that, you know. Well, I know I can be successful. It's just a matter, you got 5 billion people on this planet almost. It worries me that I can reach them.
It worries you?
Of course, 5 billion people, can you consider the enormity of that?
Yeah.
Like in England, they said, well, why is we don't know more about you, and we just found out about you? I said, well, I've been playing a low profile. I've been saying that I'm an ambassador of the creator of this whole thing. And suppose people would believe that. Now, I have to pretend like maybe yes, maybe no. They don't really know. I said, but what would happen if they did believe me? I said, now, say for instance, I'm in London, and the people of the planet wake up and say, you know, Sun Ra really does represent the creator. And then I said, can London handle maybe 1 billion people coming to see me? He said, no, I see what you mean. I said, ain't nobody no fool, you know. If they say, you know what, I believe that he does, they going to turn everything loose they got to come to see it, to talk to me. Mm-hmm. They have to, you know, because nobody want to be dying and going through this misery. So if they feel I got contact with a creator, the atheists and everybody come to try to prove I'm not. They'll be there, Russian ambassador, everybody be there. Don't nobody, want to go through this misery. They're all worried now. So they feel I got a solution. Yes, the rules of the world will say, well, we can't take a chance. Maybe we better talk to him.
So it has to be subtle.
And if they did, they'd get a shock because I tell them what to do.